Hey travelers, Mag, I, and Inextricable Fate here on day 237 of our trip around the United States. This morning, we're getting things started off from here in the middle of beautiful Yuba City at the Sutton County Veterans Memorial. We have already been to Yuba City a little more than a decade ago to get the Yuba City geocache. So for us, this is just a pass-through. We are officially finishing up Northern California today. Today is going to be our last day running through Northern California pages until we come back around to finish off the state in June. We have 320 miles to cover today as we make our way east and north out of Yuba City into Nevada to pass completely around the northern end of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Of that 320 miles, we already covered about 60 of it last night. So we have a pretty good lead time on what we have going for today. We really only have traditionals on the list as we power our way from one page to the next. Once we reach Nevada, that's really the end of our day. We don't need any geocaches for DeLorme pages or counties there. It's just to get us around the mountain range into Reno. From Reno, we're gonna have one drop south left back into California to finish off the last few remaining pages in Southern California. For today, I'm expecting to be seeing the mountains and some fun geocaches as we make our way steadily toward Nevada. You ready for some adventure?
Ready.
I'm ready for some adventure. Let's get out there and do it. Come on, let's go. The Sutter County Veterans Memorial is committed to honoring veterans, both living and dead. The panel at the entrance to the memorial reminds community members they have a responsibility to cherish the sacrifice these veterans have made, their gift ensuring our freedom. For everything that we do and everything that we have, we owe it to them. Questions are posed for the visitors to think about. Have we not inherited their hopes and their dreams? And are their hopes and dreams not fulfilled through us? In a greater sense, are we not living their memorials, we who enjoy the gift of freedom purchased with their blood? How can we continue in all that have been forgetting how we received it? Did they not trade all of their futures for our present? To continue to honor the veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice with their lives, their names must not be lost or forgotten to time. Near the edge of the city, you can find the Sutter Buttes, the world's smallest mountain range, which are actually remnants of a dormant volcano which existed about 1.5 million years ago. Following the highway north, out of the city, through Chico, it did not seem like it took very long at all before we reached the city of Chester, located along the shores of Lake Almanor. This town is situated almost directly over the buried north end of the fault block Sierra Nevada mountains and the southernmost end of the volcanic Cascade Range. It is quite the driving climb to rise all the way from Yuba City's near sea level elevation of a mere 59 feet, all the way into the mountains at Chester's elevation of over 4,500 feet. The road continues to twist and turn, climbing ever higher to the southern edge of the Lassen National Forest and into the northern edge of the Plumas National Forest. While these twisty, windy mountain roads do not afford a lot of opportunities to pull off to the side and stop, whenever they did, we would park the car and hike out on the trail in pursuit of another geocache. Ai-chan didn't even bother trying to understand how we had just come from the flatness of Yuba City into trails right along the edges of mountains. Instead, she just did what she does best and happily followed along, wagging her tail, enjoying the smells, and checking out all the views from the edge of the trail. Despite the constant up and downs of the terrain, Ai-chan always stuck with us just a few feet behind, taking on the mountainy terrain as if it was nothing at all, just an easy walk in the park. A significant portion of this drive through the mountains falls along the edge of Deer Creek, a 60-mile-long, southwestward flowing stream that runs through Tehama County. Once we had gotten close enough, we stopped off to see Deer Creek Falls, a geological formation consisting primarily of volcanic mud flows dating back over 3 million years. The water flowing over the falls will eventually join the Sacramento River all the way down at about 180 feet of elevation. As is the case with any other day spent on the road, we continued to stop for geocaches in each new county and each new page along our route. Some of these were fairly simple. Just micros, hang-in poles, nothing to see here. Others might get a bit more complicated, but we still did our best to make them look as easy as possible. One of the good things about geocaching with friends like Ai-chan and Inextricable Fate is it really doesn't matter how difficult the geocache listing is. You can count on both of them to be right there by your side, helping you hunt it down. Oftentimes, the difficulty isn't in finding the geocache, it's in accessing the hiding place for the hidden geocache. Inextricable Fate and I both had a pretty good idea where this lock and lock would be hidden as soon as we pulled up to the ground zero. But seeing where it was likely hidden and getting to that spot were two different things. We picked our course carefully around the ground zero, careful of the rocks and the branches hanging down, only to come around the other side and immediately make the find under a pile of rocks. Ai-chan doesn't 100% trust Inextricable Fate's finding abilities, so she had to make sure she got involved as well. Well, Ai-chan, if you're gonna help, then you might as well be useful. Here, hold on to this while we sign the log and look through the swag. And there was certainly no lack of variety in the geocache containers that we found today. This 3D printed pine cone was one of our favorites as it took us both a very long time to spot it, hanging in this pine tree just like it belonged there. The next one was not quite so well hidden, but whoever it is in charge of cutting the grass must have seen it and decided to leave it behind for us to find. The three of us have had a really good time all day long tracking down geocaches, whether they be hidden in the grass, hanging down from trees, or in big pile of rocks. Notice that neither Inextricable Fate nor I are holding GPSs as we track down these geocaches. That's because we have both learned to do pretty much the same thing. When we pull up to the ground zero, we have a look at the coordinates, see the satellite image, and then we walk out and go and find it. The picture provided by the satellite images is usually enough to give Inextricable Fate or I the edge in making the find. When our drive through the mountains had finally gotten high enough, we began to enter the snow line. At first, this began as only small patches of snow along the edge of the road, but as we climbed further and further up, those patches of snow became larger and larger spots. Before we even fully realized it was happening, the snow was all around us on the edge of the road. Fortunately, it seems to be a well-maintained road, with plows moving through on a regular basis. The banks of snow found along the edge of the road helped to take our already small number of available parking spots down to next to zero. We were both unwilling to pull off into any snowbank and risk getting the vehicle stuck. Instead, we just continued on until we found a ground zero with easily available parking that we knew we would be able to make our way into and back out of again. As we neared the top of this mountain range, getting ready to begin our descent back down into Nevada, the snow became even thicker all around us. As soon as we were able to locate a safe parking space though, we immediately set out to have a little bit of fun along with our finds. And into the snow, Inextricable Fate goes, armed only with his flip-flops and his toes, ready to freeze off.
He has been standing in the snow the entire time that I was trying to sign this wet logbook, so I need to get it back to him in a hurry. Easy peasy.
Like any good friend would do, I decided that this situation called for a snowball fight. It may have been me who started the fight, but it was clearly Inextricable Fate who would be finishing this thing. He was able to roll, pack, and pop off snowballs as if he had a clip of ammunition stored in his belt. One of the geocaches that afforded us an opportunity to park the car and take a walk out was located at the Rocky Point Campground. While there is a road leading into the campground, Inextricable Fate and I both agreed that we would be much better off walking this than trying to drive the short distance through the snow. Ai-chan, however, did not seem to share our sentiment. As she slowly plodded through the snow, falling in with every other step, she continued to give us looks that begged the question, isn't there an easier way to get there? Well, Ai-chan, there is, and Inextricable Fate has the right trick, following the packed down portions of snow that somebody else has already taken. Unfortunately, Ai-chan simply refused to use this path. It was entertaining to the both of us to watch her try to find places to take a break from walking through the snow, while Inextricable Fate and I busied ourselves with tracking down the geocache out here. With all the geocaches we needed to track down above the snow line successfully stamped, we began to make our way steadily out of the mountains once again toward Nevada. Finally, After a day spent crossing the mountains out of Yuba City to reach Reno, we finally reach our destination and a special guest who has been waiting for our arrival.
All right, that is going to do it for our day. We began our morning in Yuba City, and the whole goal for today was to make it out of California, through the mountains, but avoiding the worst of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And that is exactly what we did. We had an entire day spent out there driving through the mountains and got ourselves all the way above the snow line, stomping through the snow. Aichan, of course, enjoyed that most of all, but we still found all of the geocache county and page targets that we were looking for throughout the day. Now we find ourselves in Reno, just on the outskirts of Sparks, ready to end our day with my mom. Not me mom, my mom, who's been a regular follower since day one on our journey, and hopefully is very happy to be able to include in a day. We actually weren't planned to come out here and see her, but she recently picked up and moved in our path just to give us an opportunity to drop in, and so we did exactly that. Thank you for having us. It's good to see you.
Thank you, baby.
And we're gonna go ahead and head off and have dinner and spend the rest of the night with them and get back on the road in the morning. Thank you guys for joining us. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.